It has fewer than 1,000 inhabitants and covers an area of just half a square kilometer, making the Vatican the smallest independent state in the world. However, despite its tiny size, the Vatican manages a multi-million-dollar budget that sustains global operations, from internal administration to diplomatic and charitable missions worldwide. Its history, marked by episodes of great mystery and controversy, is as ancient as it is rich in legends, and even today, many secrets remain hidden behind its imposing walls. Founded more than 1,000 years ago, the Vatican is not only the most important seat of the Catholic Church but also an entity with a decisive impact on politics and religion throughout modern history. But what dark secrets are hidden behind the solemn walls of this millennial institution? Over the centuries, the Vatican has been the epicenter of conspiracies, scandals, and decisions that have shaped the course of history. Discover some of the deepest mysteries the Church has carefully guarded. If this is your first time on the channel, subscribe now so you don't miss any important content about the darkest chapters of our history. The castration bull. Among the many papal documents that have emerged over the years, papal bulls have sometimes been responsible for deeply controversial decisions. According to a report by the NBC chain, one of these documents, known as the castration bull, was issued under the divine mandate of a pope who ordered that all men of African descent be stripped of their reproductive organs. This chilling order was based on the belief that the sexual organs of black men were satanic symbols. The document in question was discovered in the Vatican's secret archives, but the public revelation of this dark secret came thanks to a bishop who broke the silence. The Spanish Inquisition. One of the darkest chapters in the history of the Catholic Church is undoubtedly the Inquisition. Established in 1184 through the papal bull Ad Abolendum by Pope Lucius III, the Episcopal Inquisition was created with the goal of persecuting and punishing those who committed crimes against the faith. Under its mandate, a relentless hunt for heretics, witches, homosexuals, and anyone considered sinners or deviants from Catholic doctrine took place. According to declassified documents published by CNN, the interrogation methods used were brutally severe, with tortures that led many to confess crimes they had not committed. This dark episode has been one of the greatest scandals the Church has tried to keep hidden, and the documents proving these atrocities remain one of the Vatican's best-kept secrets. Regular exorcisms for Catholic believers. The Vatican is a stronghold against evil, a place where the devil is seen as a constant and dangerous enemy. It is not uncommon for the popes and priests of the Vatican to perform exorcisms during their careers, directly facing what they consider demonic forces that have possessed the faithful. These rites are seen as a crucial spiritual battle to free people from the influence of Satan. According to the Sansa news agency, Pope John Paul II personally performed 3 exorcisms during his papacy, highlighting the importance the Church places on this practice. Additionally, Pope Benedict XVI was a strong advocate for exorcists, supporting and promoting their work worldwide, ensuring that this tradition remains alive in the Catholic faith. Pickpocket paradise. The Vatican, while the spiritual center of Catholicism, has ironically become a paradise for pickpockets. With 1.5 crimes for every citizen, it has the highest crime rate in the world. Every year, millions of tourists flock to the Vatican, making it the perfect playground for pickpockets, who operate relatively easily among the crowds. Despite the strong security presence, the Vatican's penal code, based on that of Italy with some modifications, does not impose severe penalties for such minor offenses, making it difficult to control and prevent these incidents. Links with the mafia. The relations between the Vatican and organized crime are one of the darkest chapters in the modern history of the Catholic Church. Over the decades, there have been multiple accusations and revelations about the Church's connection to the mafia, especially regarding the Vatican Bank, officially known as the Institute for Religious Works, IOR. The most notorious scandal erupted in 1982 when Roberto Calvi, known as the Banker of God due to his close ties with the Vatican, was found hanged under Blackfriars Bridge in London in what appeared to be a suicide, though many believe it was a murder carried out by the mafia. This case uncovered a perplexing network of corruption, money laundering, and ties to the Masonic Lodge P2, involving high-ranking Vatican officials. The president of the Vatican Bank at the time, Archbishop Paul Marcinkus, was accused of participating in illicit financial operations that benefited criminal organizations. Although Marcinkus avoided prosecution thanks to the diplomatic immunity granted by his position in the Vatican, his resignation was inevitable. The scandal ended with the Church paying a huge sum of $250 million to criminal creditors, a fact that the Vatican tried in vain to keep secret. This episode remains an example of how the Vatican's finances have sometimes been intertwined with illicit activities. There is no vice-pope in the Holy See. The power structure in the Catholic Church is unique in the world, where the Pope does not have a vice-pope or direct substitute who can assume his duties permanently in case of incapacity or death. This tradition remained unchanged until 2013 when Pope Benedict XVI surprised the world by announcing his resignation, the first from a pontiff in nearly 600 years. Until that point, the figure of the Pope was seen as the lifetime representative of God on earth, a role that did not allow for succession until his death. If a pope were incapacitated by illness, his administrative and ceremonial functions were suspended or partially delegated to the cardinals, but many papal activities remained in limbo until his recovery or death. Benedict XVI's resignation set a new precedent in the Church, which now contemplates the possibility that a pope may resign, although there is no detailed official protocol to handle the power transition in such circumstances. This power vacuum can create uncertainty in the management of the Church and in the spiritual direction of over 1 billion Catholics worldwide. The Vatican has rules to cover up sexual abuse. The issue of sexual abuse within the Catholic Church is one of the most controversial and painful of recent decades. Since the 2000s, thousands of cases of abuse by priests around the world have come to light, many of which were covered up by ecclesiastical authorities. According to a UN investigation, the Vatican has long maintained a code of silence known as Crimen Solicitationis, an internal document dating back to 1962 that instructed bishops to keep any accusations of sexual abuse secret to avoid public scandal. Priests who broke this silence were threatened with excommunication. This systematic cover-up allowed many abusers to remain in their positions, moving from one diocese to another without facing legal consequences, further exacerbating the suffering of the victims and eroding trust in the Church. Despite public apologies and promises of change made by recent popes, including Pope Francis, and the implementation of new policies for the protection of minors, many critics argue that these efforts are insufficient and that the Church still has not fully taken responsibility for the crimes committed under its roof. If you've made it this far and learned something new from our stories, subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Together, we can discover and remember the truths that history often tries to conceal.